Australian paramedics respond to more than 9,000 calls for help every day.
We've got at least 2 patients down.
Working around the clock.
Twist slowly, one leg at a time.
Fighting to save lives.
Ready, set, go.
Cameras across Melbourne give unprecedented access.
Hold on, people. You're okay.
To the daily lives of these emergency service heroes. Tonight on Paramedics.
Making entry with police now.
A dangerous call out for Cam to save a patient in crisis.
He's lacerated his heart or a major artery. If you can't stop it bleeding, you bleed out and you die.
Taz, I reckon you love this job more than anyone I know.
Yep.
What surprise has Amanda got in store for Taz's 10 years in the blue uniform?
He has absolutely no idea what's going on. I don't know why I'm so nervous.
And a devastating blow for a newlywed couple.
Did you lose consciousness or anything?
Unlike a car where we can kind of predict what injuries they have from the impact, a bike, all bets are off.
It's a beautiful morning in Melbourne, but for one of this city's residents, it's already turned into a dark day.
Emergency services.
I've slashed my throat and stabbed myself in the heart.
Okay, you stabbed yourself?
In the heart.
How much are you bleeding? Is there lots or...?
A lot, yeah.
Okay, and what did you stab yourself with?
Kitchen knives.
We'll obviously wait for the police to get on scene before we get there, given that the offender's got a knife.
Mobile intensive care paramedic Cam is trying to reach the suicidal patient before it's too late.
Who knows what state the person's going to be in. You can deteriorate very quickly when you're stabbed in the neck and the chest. Can we have the team manager ditch his sirens, please? I've chosen to approach the job without the sirens on, just because if this person's hurt himself, he might have some serious mental health issues. I'd prefer to just approach quietly and let the police make initial contact, and then we'll see where we go from there. Phil, has that got oxygen and suction and the likes in it?
We'll take all that.
Fair bit of the trauma gear as well, please. Are we worried with these bystanders and people around? Is he likely to come out?
Wow, we can't start.
You're never absolutely sure of what you're going to walk into. If somebody is willing to hurt themselves, then they might want to hurt somebody else as well. We'll just wait for more police to turn up. Until we get back up, we won't be approaching.
4 police units and 3 ambulance crews are now at the scene, ready to deal with this potentially violent patient.
If we go in and he's thrashy and punchy, I'll let you guys secure weapons. These guys are wearing vests and are trained for situations like this. That's not my game. I've got no idea what state this person's going to be in when I get there. Making entry with police now.
In Melbourne's southeast, Mike and Eamon's day is starting with a time-critical Code 1 road accident.
What's the story, mate?
Going to a 2-car MVA, 2 patients, 1 male, 1 female, both mid-20s. They're conscious and breathing. We've got 2 patients. You happy to take one? I'll take one.
Yeah, just make a decision, sick or not sick, and if you want backup, we'll get backup, but it sounds like something we can handle.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's nothing we can't handle. Well, no, I do feel that about working with you. Like, there's no job that I think, I'd be a bit worried going to that with Eamon.
I'm very worried going to jobs with me.
I'm trying to pep you up, mate. Trying to make you feel good. Eamon and I have certainly been to some big jobs that maybe a once-in-a-career sort of thing. We're both fairly junior in ambulance, so almost a trial by fire sort of situation. Oh, he's down.
Oh, OK. Motorcyclist.
I've got police on scene. All right, there might be something in this, mate.
Motorbike accidents can be really messy. Some of the biggest traumas I've done have been motorcyclists.
Oh, we've got 2. Oh, pillion passenger.
Uh-huh.
They both look like they've possibly been on the bike, mate.
They do look like that. Hopefully they're both wearing helmets.
I only see 1 helmet there. All right, let's hit it.
Motorcyclists just don't have the same protection that you do in a car. There's no seat belts, there's no airbags, there's no crumple zone, and if you come off that bike, you can sustain some pretty serious injuries.
What's happened?
So I'll just let the police secure the scene.
Intensive care paramedic Cam is responding to an SOS from a suicidal patient. The man has just stabbed himself multiple times with his kitchen knives.
Just show us then, can you? Righto, 2 weapons, thank you. G'day, my name's Cam. Have you taken drugs or alcohol today?
I just took some alcohol there.
Okay, mate. Just gonna get your hand out of here. So whereabouts, mate? Throat? Single puncture wound, righto. Chest, okay. Nowhere else?
No.
Do you feel dizzy?
Yep.
You can lie yourself back down. What time did you do this?
10 minutes ago.
10 minutes? Okay, mate. We're gonna look after you, okay?
Response 99.
Response 99. Can I have a second Mikey unit to this address? I quickly identified that he stabbed himself pretty much the area that the heart is. We need to move now. Mate, I don't even want you to really stand. I want you to shuffle your bum round and onto the bed there. That's the way. Lay yourself straight back on there, mate. Okay. Yeah, that hurts, does it? Not allergic to anything?
No.
Okay, lie yourself back down on the bed. Keep your head down. Can we get some oxygen, please? I am worried about him, so I either stop and chew into time now, or I start moving to the ambulance where I know I can have a good look at him while the wheels are rolling. Can you take it down that step? At this stage, I don't know how deep his wounds are. Set up an IV, please. We're just going to get going.
If the knives have hit a major blood vessel in the heart,
Doors shut.
this patient may only have minutes to live.
Hey, I'm going to look after you, mate. I'm going to look after you. I'll just get a BP and heart monitor on.
Just going to pop this cuff on you, all right, mate? Just going to take your blood pressure, okay?
Is it the pain? Heart rate 130. BP going. For the Alfred, please, code 1. When you clip a major artery, if you can't stop it bleeding, you bleed out and you die. It's as simple as that.
Driving, you were behind.
Mike and Eamon are urgently trying to work out what's happened to a motorcyclist and his pillion passenger who are now lying on the side of the road.
What's your name? Sophia, and what's happened?
I don't know.
Touch me. So you were coming along this road?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very fast.
The young married couple were on their way home from English lessons when a security camera caught the terrifying moment the car suddenly crashed into them. The driver of the car is still on the scene, and Mike's trying to find out exactly what speed he was going when the accident happened.
I was driving around 70, 75.
Okay. And have these guys pulled out of here, or?
I want to change my line from there.
Oh, okay. A motorbike being hit at about 70 kilometres per hour with 2 passengers on board with very minimal protection, it definitely increases your suspicion that there may be really serious injuries. We've got 2 patients here, motorcyclist versus car. They'll both be going up at hospital at this stage.
Just keep looking up, all right?
Roger.
715, Roger, thank you.
You've got pain on your left side there. All the way up and down?
We know that motorcyclists are overrepresented in the road toll, and that's because there's just so much potential for things to go wrong there.
He's got a bit of a graze there. Is that sore? Yeah. That's sore.
Yeah,
Like
and
that.
Also being sort of the front driver, a bit more risk there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's copped the brunt of it. We might take this gentleman.
Yeah, just coming around the back. You stay nice and still for us.
Good job.
Eamon and Mike are putting a collar on Mohammed to protect him against potential spinal damage.
You keep the monitor. I'll be able to manage with what I've got in the truck.
Yeah, no problems.
But they're becoming increasingly worried that he could have a fractured pelvis.
That's sore in there?
If your pelvis is broken, you can bleed out more than 6 litres into that, which is more than the blood supply most people have, so you can bleed to death.
This side's very sore.
I just want to confirm, you tried to cut your neck, you put a knife in your neck. How far in did it go?
Right through.
Right through.
Intensive care paramedics Cam and Cara are on a lights and sirens code 1 run to hospital to save their patient's life. Just minutes ago, he tried to take his own life.
And what about the one in the chest?
Right at the last.
Straight in. Okay, mate.
The man now risks bleeding to death from internal injuries caused by self-inflicted stab wounds.
We'll get the IV in if I can, and then we'll work on that, okay?
Sure, just standing, Josh. Just nice and still for us, okay? Just gonna put this drip in you.
Pop us your hand for me, buddy. Just going to rest it on my leg there. Tiny sting in the back of the hand, okay?
Just nice and steady.
So, I want to see you get better. You understand?
I don't want to get better.
I know. I know that you're probably feeling absolutely shit-house at the moment, mate. Okay? I'm sad for him. I'm thinking, how can you get to this stage? You know, how can you get to the point that you think you're better off not living?
If we know that, mate, we're gonna look after you, okay? It's all right, mate. You just try to stay as calm as you can. I know it's really hard, okay? You're in really good hands. Cam's taking really good care of you, okay?
I'm just going to stand up so you can open your eyes and see me. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
I don't do anything.
You're not working at the moment.
I work so hard, 2.5, 4 years.
That's okay. That's okay. Mate, life gets hard for people and you're allowed for life to be hard. Life isn't easy, okay? We're going to look after you, and then when we get to hospital, they're going to look after you medically, and then we're going to have to chat to someone about how you're feeling, okay? Nah, I don't want you to. Open your eyes. I don't want you to, okay? You understand? You know, when you hear somebody saying to you that they want to die and they're in the back of your ambulance, irrespective of his wishes, I want him to know that I'm not going to let it happen. So, Cars, I've got a stab wound here. There's a hematoma. I don't want to touch it.
But there is now significant swelling in the man's neck, indicating there could be life-threatening bleeding under the skin.
173 on 124. Just try and relax a little bit, mate. Keep your head down. But I saw both knives, very long blades, a skinny one and a fat one, and both were covered in blood. A lot of blood all over the floor. My big concern is this guy's bleeding. As much as I've got some fantastic bits of equipment with me, he needs surgery, and he needs it quickly. Hang on, mate. Hang on. Just listening to your breathings. Okay. I can hear entry at the top, but starting to get decreased air entry on the left side. How's your breathing feel?
Shallow.
Bit shallow. You can't take a big breath because of the pain?
Yeah.
Okay, mate. Going to give you a dose of fentanyl just to help with that pain, okay? Mate, we're trying. Okay?
Can we stop for food before we eat someone's arm off?
Having a much different start to their day, mobile intensive care partners Karina and Dodsey are weighing up their meal options.
Oh, A1 kebabs.
For Dodsey, just 1 week into a low-carb diet, it's a real test of his willpower.
Pizza with a lot.
Yeah, no,
I
that
could
can't
kill a
happen.
pizza with a lot now.
That can't happen. This is a felt machine.
Mean machine.
Yeah.
Worst we can do is a couple of slabs of halloumi and a fry-up to wash it down.
Now you tease me.
Could you please stop us on the job that Birdie are responding to?
But a meal break is now forgotten. Another crew are in need of urgent assistance from these mica specialists.
Do you mind if I do an update?
No, go for it.
Tell me exactly what happened.
We've had later, she's had a bee sting. She's having a possible anaphylactic reaction.
And does she have any injections or other medications to treat this type of reaction?
She's got the Excedrin, which doesn't have it on her nose.
Is she completely alert?
No. How far away are you?
Yeah, if you guys want to load, we're just coming past Pakenham Turner.
The only way to treat the potentially fatal anaphylaxis is with adrenaline, often carried by allergy sufferers in an EpiPen.
Yeah, so she's got an exposure already to an antigen. She's got airway involvement, and did I see on there she's got a rash?
So skin with rash and hypotension, which is an anaphylaxis, and these guys would have at least given 2 to 3 adrenaline doses before we get there.
A local crew have already picked up the patient and administered adrenaline, but she's still in trouble.
Adrenaline's a short-acting drug, so it's not to say that 10, 15, 20 minutes down the track, the anaphylaxis will rear its ugly head again.
60-year-old Carolyn was at an outdoor food festival when she was stung by a bee and suddenly collapsed.
How do you feel at the moment? Do you still feel nauseated?
Vomiting and chest pains are red flags that this is a dangerous allergic reaction.
Anaphylaxis is serious enough that it can kill you.
So what's going to happen, Carolyn? I'm going to put you across into my intensive care truck.
It can lead you down a pathway of being unconscious and actually put you into cardiac arrest. It can take your life.
Nice and easy, Josh, thanks.
Sorry, mate.
Micah paramedic Cam and his team are under pressure to get their suicidal patient to hospital after he stabbed himself several times.
Appears to be stab wound directly over the top of the heart and left side of the neck. That hematoma looks as though it's getting bigger. It's encapsulated under the neck.
If the bleeding continues, he could be dead within minutes.
Sorry to mess you there.
Not at all, mate. Hey, this is what we're here for, okay? You haven't messed my day up, mate. I'm glad that we got to you as soon as we did so we can help you.
Suicide is one of those jobs that there's no avoiding it. It's part of being a paramedic.
We're taking you to the right hospital for your injuries, and they can also help you with everything else that's going on, okay? You understand? Okay.
There's just no rhyme or reason to it. Everybody fights their own demons at one stage or another in life. It's just whether you can find the adequate resources to help you through those moments in life.
Yeah, they're fantastic, mate. But every now and then, stuff gets on top of all of us, buddy. Lay back, mate.
I'm genuinely wanting him to get some help at the end of this because I just can't imagine the pain that he's in to do that to himself.
Just arriving at the hospital, okay?
Thanks, Josh. Nice drive.
Thanks, George.
Yeah, good man.
But right now, the man's physical wounds are the priority. Doctors are on standby to take the patient into emergency surgery.
Okay, lie your head back down. That's the way, bud.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
You're a legend.
Oh, you're the legend, mate.
I don't think of myself as a legend or a hero or anything for doing that. You know, I genuinely come to work to help people. And if I can set him on the road to recovery, then that's fantastic. I've done my job.
Thanks, George.
And where is your pain exactly? I'm going to have another good look.
At the scene of a shocking motorcycle crash, Eamon's concerned his 26-year-old patient has a potentially catastrophic fractured pelvis.
So you've gone into the front of the motorbike. So you've copped it in the ghoulies.
My wife okay?
Yeah, she's okay. That's why we got you first.
But Mohammed is more worried about his 20-year-old wife, Sophia, who's waiting with Mike for a second ambulance.
I promise we'll get you off this ground as soon as we can, all right?
The recently married couple were riding home from English classes when a car crashed into the back of them at around 70 kilometres per hour.
Now, did you have the helmet with the open face on? Yeah. So you had that one? Okay. The impact has been heavy. We know the occupants haven't been well protected, so there could be something serious going on internally.
See, where are you from?
Malaysia.
Malaysia. Ah, very nice.
Mohammed and Sophia arrived in Australia a year ago, wanting to start a new life and a family.
She's all good, mate. Sophia's okay.
Your wife? Okay.
But now they're travelling to hospital in separate ambulances.
I'm thinking about Mohammed in the back. He's away from his wife. He doesn't speak the language. He's in a foreign country. He's feeling so isolated.
Australia, good so far?
Good.
That's good.
So anything that we can do to reduce that isolation, getting him back together with Sophia as quickly as possible, we're going to do that. We're now in a convoy. We've got Sophia right there.
Okay, so we'll see her at Dandenong Hospital.
So, Dandenong Hospital?
Dandenong Hospital, that's right. Have you been there before?
Yeah.
What for?
My wife.
Oh, your wife.
Because before my wife miscarried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I think you'll be a very good dad one day.
Yeah.
I really feel for Mohammed and Sophia. It's just one thing after another. The last thing they need at the moment is this.
You can reach your hand out.
Put your arm out, Sophia.
There she is.
Mohammed and Sophia now have an anxious wait ahead, while doctors check for any long-term injuries.
I hope Mohammed's not prevented from riding the scooter because that's their source of income. The problem with somebody who's come off their bike is, unlike a car where we can kind of predict what injuries they have from the impact, a bike, all bets are off.
Got a fair bit of artwork there. When you open your eyes, you'll see I look exactly the same.
On the outskirts of Melbourne, Doddsy and Karina are urgently transferring bee-sting victim Carolyn into their intensive care ambulance. The 60-year-old's suffering from a potentially fatal allergic reaction called anaphylaxis.
I'm just going to pop in the side. G'day, mate. What was your name? Greg. Paul.
Carolyn and her husband Greg were having a good time at a local food festival when she was stung by a bee.
Within 10 minutes, she was unable to do anything for herself. Walking, talking, breathing. I couldn't do anything to help her. It was totally in everybody else's care.
All right.
Despite already being given 2 shots of adrenaline, Carolyn is still showing the classic symptoms of the deadly reaction.
If you need to be sick, go to town.
She's still quite nauseated. She has an upset tummy. Her heart rate's really fast and her blood pressure's a little bit low as well.
Have you had some issues with this before?
Right.
Just the once. Was that the initial time that you got bitten by a bee? Okay, and that's the issue with this is the more you get bitten, the increased severity can be now, unfortunately.
Good to know.
Absolutely, mate.
Dodsy's worried she could deteriorate further on the 20-minute drive to hospital.
With anaphylaxis, because it's so dynamic, this can happen in 30 seconds to a minute. You can go from being 100% normal to being bitten and at its worst can actually kill you.
I've still got adrenaline drawn up beside me just in case something's going to happen. It could turn bad at any time.
So what would you do if you weren't an ambo?
Well, I can't think of anything else. Literally, I cannot think of anything else.
Good mates Amanda and Taz are just starting a new shift.
I don't know what I'll do without this blue uniform. And every now and then, you know, the idea of retirement freaks me out.
Tomorrow, Taz is celebrating a major milestone, and Amanda is planning a surprise.
It's Taz's 10-year service anniversary. He has absolutely no idea what's going on.
To become a paramedic, Taz left behind his entire family in India, taught himself English, and even scrubbed toilets to pay his way through university.
He has struggled to get into this blue uniform more than anyone is ever going to know. So it's really important that I celebrate this with him and try and make it as special as we can. Oh, there it is.
But Amanda's party planning goes on hold as they respond to an urgent call for help.
Tell me exactly what's happened.
We've had a fella here's had a fall somewhere in the bathroom, split his head.
Okay, is there any serious bleeding?
Is there like a bleeding about a 2-inch or so cut?
Says that the patient is sitting out at the front on the porch.
Right.
And waiting for us.
Hopefully he's not done anything too sinister to his neck and back. We get very little information through our system, so sometimes you really just need to think worst case scenario. Maybe it's a stroke, maybe it's a seizure, or maybe there's some alcohol involved.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you, mate? Looks like you have a good cut there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you hit it on?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
Now, have you had any alcohol today?
Yeah, going to the pub to have some beer, 6 glasses.
Is that pretty standard for you to have 6 glasses?
Oh, sometimes.
Yeah.
But despite all those beers, the longer Taz and Amanda talk with Alan, the more concerned they are something else caused his tumble.
Now, I'm guessing the difference between your pupil sizes in your eyes, that's normal for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I've had a disability in the past.
Okay. In this job, our emotions change drastically from one moment to other moment. Here I am thinking Alan had too much to drink and probably sustained a fall. And now all of a sudden he's telling me that he's got an acquired brain injury, and I'm thinking he's lived through a very tough life. Because of this cut on your head, we may need to take you to the hospital.
I thought so.
Yeah. Will you be right to stand when you're ready?
After the initial assessment, Taz is now satisfied there's no injuries to Alan's neck and spine.
So is that walk normal for you?
Yeah. Okay.
But he's still concerned the blow to Alan's head could have caused a bleed in his brain.
Just a couple of bumps, Alan, okay? If a patient is difficult to assess, it's easy for miscommunication to happen. It's easy to miss some symptoms. You good to go, Taz?
Yes.
So with someone like Alan, it's far more safe for him to go to hospital.
How you feeling? Just feel a bit washed out, yeah?
On the other side of the city, intensive care paramedic Dodsey is closely monitoring bee sting victim Carolyn to make sure she doesn't go back into anaphylactic shock.
So after that first episode, was this one worse than that first one? Yeah, okay.
The 60-year-old was only recently diagnosed with a bee sting allergy and was not carrying her EpiPen when she was stung earlier today.
And that's why the doctor would have sent you home with an EpiPen. It's a lifesaver, it's a game changer.
No, you got to carry that. Like, it'll save your life. And it scared the shit out of her the second time. Said third time you might not get a chance to be scared shitless.
Yeah, it would have scared you a lot. Probably scared you too a bit, Greg. Yeah.
Realising that he's not elected.
Yeah, you get that sort of hopeless feeling.
I still can't believe this little bee could have done so much damage in such a short time. She's been my partner of 30-odd years, and I can't lose her now. Like, we've got too much living to do.
Can you open your eyes for me? Both of them, nice and wide, and have a look at me? Open them up, mate. Are you still collecting artwork, or are you done now? Yeah, I'm head to toe, mate. Covered, head to toe, fingernails to toes.
With Greg in shock and Carolyn still in danger, Dodsey's doing his best to keep both of them calm.
Bit of an addiction, unfortunately.
One of the most important aspects to being a good paramedic is the ability to talk to people.
I'm just running out of room. My wife reckons that's probably about it now. I've spent a small mortgage on him, apparently.
The important part, particularly in anaphylaxis, if we give her rest and reassurance, it'll decrease her heart rate. Because while her heart rate's high, it's still circulating some bad stuff in her body and it can still make her quite ill. So rest and reassurance plays a really big part in these patients.
Okay, we are here.
Although Carolyn has survived the trip to hospital, she's not out of danger yet. If the 60-year-old goes back into anaphylactic shock, she could still suffer a cardiac arrest.
Come this way, mate.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome, mate.
At Melbourne's Essendon Airport, flight paramedic Ray is on the way to help a dirt bike rider who's crashed 200 kilometres away in the remote Victorian high country.
Airborne 4-4 Parker.
Reports are coming in that he's badly broken both his wrist bones.
Is it coming through the skin?
Yeah.
Which side?
Right.
The reality is you probably ride bikes in the bush enough and you're going to crash. It's just the nature of that terrain. You tend not to potter around, you tend to tear around. Really at high speed, coming off a motorbike, you're going to be pretty hurt.
Local paramedics have now rescued the severely injured rider from the bike trail and are about to update Ray.
Mark, how you doing?
So I've got for you 30-year-old Brenton. He's turned to have a look at the rest of the guys he's riding with. He's hit something.
Okay. Gone
Superman push.
Yep, over the top of the handlebars.
Yeah, we've got fracture dislocation on the right wrist.
Yeah.
And what's your pain out of 10 now, mate? You said it was 6.
It's getting up there. It's getting up there again, okay.
Brenton was a competitive motocross rider, so he's no stranger to accidents.
He's had a femur fracture that he's got a pin in.
Yep.
And he's had a previous radial ulnar fracture on the right, which has been pinned and played in the past as well.
Okay.
You've had those plates removed, haven't you?
Yeah. When did you break that arm the first time? How long ago? Just ballpark.
2 years.
2 years ago? And the leg? Same crash?
Yeah.
That was a bad crash?
Yeah.
His girlfriend Kirsty has just arrived at the airstrip after hearing the news of the accident.
I wasn't there, but his mates told me they were just riding along the track and he's hit a rock and just gone over the handlebars. I think he's getting a bit old for it.
How quick were you going, you reckon, Brenton?
So I sort of said it between 40 and 50.
40, 50, so it's just unlucky to really go over the top and land like you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was silly. It's just because I wasn't looking. You did the Superman.
Yeah, and your hands go out because that's what we do. All right, I'm going to have a quick poke and prod at you.
As well as 2 serious wrist fractures, Brenton's also dislocated his right elbow in the fall.
So wiggle these fingers for me, just nice and gently. Fingers. They don't wiggle very well.
Stuck.
All right.
Stuck.
Brenton needs surgery urgently, but a Melbourne trauma centre is still almost an hour's flight away.
The dislocation has potential to impinge both nerves and blood supply. Now, you don't want that to persist because that impinge for a long time can potentially lead to a loss of limb.
Let's get you up and out of here, hey?
So what's your favourite beer?
I forget.
Taz and Amanda are en route to hospital with 51-year-old Alan. He fell and cut his head after a few beers at the pub.
I don't drink alcohol.
No, I just do to be sociable.
I get pretty high on orange juice.
Now that Taz knows his patient has a pre-existing brain injury, he's not taking any chances. The blow to Alan's head could have caused a dangerous bleed in the brain.
Do you normally have weakness in this arm?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Oh, when I was 9.
Would you mind sharing me how did that happen?
Oh, someone threw something and hit me.
That's very sad, Alan.
Yes.
That's a difficult journey for you. Do you feel lonely?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That's why I try to get out as much as possible.
Yeah.
There are some cases that we go to that, without doubt, the reality of the situation really floors you. And Alan was one of those cases.
We're almost at hospital. You're a nice bloke, Alan. I realise that for Alan, life is very difficult with this kind of condition, but full credit to him that he's still living his life and trying to stay strong.
How you doing back there?
Good.
Good. Has he been taking good care of you?
Yeah.
That's not what the last patient said.
Alan's head wound will now be stitched by doctors, and he'll need scans to check for any signs of a brain bleed.
People sometimes think this job, it's all car crash, people dying, blood and gore, bones sticking out. This job is all about understanding human emotion. Of course, we do deal with emergencies, but you can help people in so many ways other than bringing them back to life.
Taz, I reckon you love this job more than anyone I know.
Yep.
Why is that?
So I worked very hard to get this job.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Taz will be celebrating 10 years in his beloved blue uniform.
This anniversary is very important to Taz, so it's super important that I do something special for him.
I used to sit on the roof of my house, and I used to see the aeroplanes flying over. I told Dad, I said, you know, one day I'll have wings. I will fly.
Ambulance is your wings.
Ambulance is my wings.
So this pain's starting to jack up again?
Yeah.
In the Victorian High Country, Micah flight paramedic Ray is increasingly concerned about Brenton's extreme injuries. The 30-year-old has smashed both his wrists in a dirt bike crash.
I can think of nothing worse than doing 2 at the same time, to be quite honest. Yeah, a bit cool one right side too.
His dislocated right elbow is also now blocking vital blood and nerve supply to his hands.
What do you do for a living?
Builder.
So you kind of need your hands.
Yeah.
Let's get you up and out of here, hey?
Brenton's a builder, so his hands and his arms are just crucial to his work. And at very least for him, it's casts on both arms, probably for about 8 weeks.
Hi, Kirsty. So to Melbourne he goes, and he'll really just pretty much go on a pretty quick surgery.
For Brenton's partner, Kirsty, the news is devastating.
Are you coming to Melbourne?
Yeah, I'm going to drive down, yeah.
Take your time. You're going to have the hard part for the next X amount of months.
Yes.
Although she's putting on a brave face, Kirsty knows there's tough times ahead.
Hey, Brent.
How you going? Face.
Push it
forward.
I think it started dawning on Kirsty that their whole world's going to change between the two of them.
I might leave you to it, Brent.
All right, thanks, Kirsty.
I'll see you after your surgery.
Just straighten it out a bit, mate.
Bathing himself, driving a car, he's going to be totally dependent on the care that Kirsty can provide. And there's probably mortgage to be paid. You're a chippy, so what are your odds? Are you getting paid on sick leave? Probably not.
All stations, Paul Bunker CTAF, medical helicopter HEMS 1 is lifting, runway 18 for departure to Melbourne.
Kirsty wasn't impressive. When you break both your arms, so you meant to wipe your ass and stuff like that.
It's nearly an hour's flight to the Royal Melbourne Hospital Trauma Centre, where Brenton will be taken straight into surgery.
Yo! Sorry, mate. Getting some needles. Hang on, we're just going to undo a seatbelt. Hold tight. Oh, that's better. Oh. Yeah. You right? Yeah.
The longer Brenton's hand is not properly supplied with blood in particular, the more potential he has for cell damage. And if you have it long enough, cells will die. As we come into land, Brenton's right hand doesn't look a great colour and he really can't move it all that well. That's not looking really good for Brenton.
We'll just do a gentle bump or two as we come in here.
Yep.
Oh, this is so special.
Taz's big day has finally arrived, and Amanda's down at base early to prepare her surprise.
It's Taz's 10-year AV anniversary today, and I didn't want to let it go because it's such a momentous occasion. So we've set up the truck with some balloons, and we've got a beautiful cake for him, and he has no idea. I don't know why I'm so nervous. Surprise! Happy anniversary!
I wasn't expecting that. She's definitely very special.
Well done.
Still remember those years of struggle. There were so many hurdles. A couple of times where I should have been with my family, with mum and dad when they were really, really sick. I couldn't go.
Take it all in, Taz. Take it all in. Hey, it's pretty amazing. Look, 10 years in front of one of those.
When I rang my dad, I said, look, I made it.
It's pretty special, isn't it?
Now I'm in a blue uniform.
I have one more surprise for you.
How are you, mate? Taz's boss, Mick, has also arrived to make a special presentation.
Congratulations. You're a star. We love you. We really do. There's your 10-year medal. How's that?
Oh, look at that.
Hey?
Look at that.
What a fantastic effort. Hey? It's a fantastic effort. So proud of you. You really are. You making my shirt wet?
Thank you.
Taz embodies everything we'd like to see in a paramedic. He's kind, he's compassionate, he gives every patient the best care he can. Well done, mate. Really appreciate it. Good on you. You know, we're here to give people our very best in their most dire times. We've got 5,000 paramedics and volunteers in Victoria, all doing fantastic work. And we're very, very proud of who they are and what they do. People that have struggled to get here and then to spend so much time giving to others. I'm very proud to lead people like Taz and his colleagues.
Looks like you have a good cut there.
Yay. Taz's patient, Alan, had brain scans at hospital, but they were all clear. The head wound was stitched up and he was allowed home later that day.
So what's your favourite beer?
The brave 51-year-old, who has lived most of his life with an acquired brain injury, still enjoys going to the pub to meet up with his mates.
I get pretty high on orange juice.
But he's taking Taz's advice and sticking to the OJ.
Do you feel nauseated?
Carolyn went into life-threatening anaphylactic shock after she was stung by a bee while out at a food festival with husband Greg.
I mean, that's why the doctor would have sent you home with an EpiPen. It's a lifesaver, it's a game changer.
After being treated with adrenaline in the ambulance, the allergic reaction reoccurred at hospital, leaving Carolyn fighting for her life.
We're all ready.
Let's go.
All excited to go.
Come on, little boys. When I got to hospital, the doctors did tell me I nearly died and always carry an EpiPen with me.
We do a pat down before we leave the house. The purse, glasses and EpiPen. This has been the rude awakening that we need to always have one within reach.
Former motocross rider Brenton was in danger of losing the use of both his hands after he came off his dirt bike at high speed.
So wiggle these fingers for me, just nice and gently.
Stuck.
All right.
Stuff.
Both his wrists were severely broken and his right elbow dislocated, cutting off critical blood supply. Luckily for the young builder, Ray got him to hospital in time for successful emergency surgery. 4 months and 5 operations later, Brenton is back on the bike, rounding up cattle on his farm, and will soon resume full-time work.
What's happened?
I don't know.
Touch me.
Mike and Eamon's patients, Mohammed and Sophia, also had their lives thrown into turmoil by a motorbike accident. They were on their way home from English classes when they were violently knocked off their scooter by a car. Miraculously, neither sustained serious injuries. Mohammed is back delivering food part-time, and the couple have resumed English classes and are looking forward to starting a family.
I plan for big family, good family, happy family. I think I can live without Sophia. I love Sophia.
I love you too.
You put a knife in your neck, how far in did it go?
Cam's suicidal patient was taken to hospital with potentially fatal stab wounds to his chest and neck.
We're going to look after you, all right? Nah, I don't want you to. You understand?
Fortunately, he survived and spent 3 weeks in psychiatric care. He's now on the long road to recovery.
I'm rapt that he's doing a lot better, and the fact that he says he can't even recognise the person who did that to himself means that he's in a very different state mentally.
Cam's patient wanted to share his story and send a message that it's never too late to ask for help.
More people suffer from mental health issues than we either want to admit or that we're aware of. And in the situation of a crisis, ring an ambulance. It's as simple as that. That's what we do. We can come and help.